Hello, and welcome to RuPaul's Drag Race Rejudged, where today I will be rejudging All Stars 1. First up, we have the Episode 1 Photoshoot Challenge. Team Latrilla wins, Team Rujubee is high. Then for the bottom teams, your Lexus is low, and Mandora and Shad are in the bottom. While I've seen a fair amount of people that disagree with this opinion, I fully believe Chad Michaels beat Mimi I'm First in that lip sync. So with that said, Team Shad sends home Team Mandora to opposites attract. Next up we have episode 2, which is the Snatch Game. I decided to give Team Yarlexis the win because they are the only team where no one did terribly, and Yara did pretty well. Despite Chanel's weaker performance, I decided to keep Team Shad as high, solely based off the fact that collectively they weren't as bad as the other teams, and Shad did pretty well. For the bottom three, I could realistically justify putting any of the three teams in the bottom two, but in the end, I decided to save Team Rujubee. I think that out of the six, Manila and Raven are the only two that didn't completely flop. And between the two, I think Raven and Jujubee were slightly better. So Rujubee is low, teams Brown Flowers and Latrilla are in the bottom. Latrice Royale wins the lip sync against Tammy Brown to There's No Business Like Show Business, and Team Brown Flowers is eliminated. Next up, we have the Episode 3 Improv Challenge. Team Shad gets the win here. I think they were collectively the strongest. I decided to move Team Yarlexis from being low to being high because they were entertaining to watch. That cannot be said for teams Rujubee and Latrilla, who all just kind of flopped this challenge, in my opinion. Jujubee and Manila lip sync to Nasty by Janet Jackson. Jujubee wins, and Team Latrilla is sent home. Next up, we have the Episode 4 Makeover. I decided to keep Team Shad as the winners. I think you could also have justified Team Yarlexis to win this, but I think Shad winning has more narrative sense for the season. This, unfortunately, puts Team Yarlexis in the bottom with Team Rujubee. Raven lip syncs to Don't Ya against both Alexis and Yara and comes out on top, sending home Team Yarlexis. Next up, we have Episode 5, which is the Comedy Challenge. Since we are at the top 4, I decided to deviate from the season as it played out regularly and just scrap the ball as a whole. Queens lip sync individually here. Chad Michaels wins with Raven as high. I think they were the clear strongest two. Jujubee and Chanel lip sync to Dancing on My Own. I don't know how Chanel would do, but it would probably be well enough to save her, especially keeping her track record in mind, so we have a non-elimination going into the finale. In terms of the fan vote, if you've looked at it, people were clearly not judging on track record, so I think Raven and Jujubee still do well, Chad does okay, and Chanel kind of flops in terms of the fan vote. In terms of track record, Chad Michaels is the clear frontrunner. She has 3 wins and 1 bottom, putting her score at 7.6. Chanel is a relatively distant second. She has 2 wins and 2 bottoms, putting her at a score of 5.8. Next, we have Raven, who has 2 bottoms, putting her score at 3.6. And in 4th place, we have Jujubee with 3 bottoms, putting her score at 2.4. That said, Jujubee and Raven are double eliminated, tying for 3rd place, with Chad Michaels and Chanel making it to the top 2 of the season. Based off the season as a whole in terms of track records, fan support, and everything else, Chad Michaels wins the season. I think in this timeline we get much less of a Raven was robbed narrative around the season, but I still don't think the season is going to be remembered well, even with all the changes that have been made. Now to give some final thoughts on the season, dear lord, this season was rough. I think that based off the cast that they were able to assemble, this could have been the greatest season of Drag Race that ever happened. Unfortunately, the planning and format and execution were just so terrible that it ended up being what is, in my opinion, the worst season of All Stars, even worse than All Stars 5. I am so glad that so many of these queens got another shot because this is not what any of them deserved, except for Mimi. I would love to see Chad Michaels and Chanel both come back to compete again in the future, but that said, that's about all I have to say. So on that note, hey, it's Rejected. Do you want non-Emmy nominated gay shit? Well then subscribe to Drag Race Rejudged.